Now, one of the questions which will be useful to discuss this evening will be the question of the development of confidence, faith, confidence in Buddhism. How we develop confidence and to what extent confidence can further condition our progress in our spiritual search. Now, we have to start actually in our search for truth or in our practice of Dhamma. We have to begin with some elements of faith or confidence. Although we have in many instances discouraged the practice of blind faith, sometimes to the extent that to give rise to the idea that Buddhism is merely an intellectual exercise. No, there is certainly this element of faith and confidence to be developed. Now, that element of faith is that element that one should have in mind, at least to have some confidence that, firstly, that there was such a being who became enlightened. In other words, there was the Buddha who became fully enlightened. Then the confidence that the teachings of the Buddha is able to pave the way for us to overcome suffering. And also the confidence that by the practice of these teachings, there are, and there will be beings, disciples, faithful disciples, who live, who practices these teachings, who can become noble, who have become noble ones, freeing themselves from all the taints of greed, hatred, delusion. And this confidence, in other words, of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, is a prerequisite to our developments in the spiritual path, especially according to the Dhamma, the Buddha Dhamma. So how does an individual begins in this search? Firstly, he meets the Sangha, members of the Sangha. And that is why members of the Sangha, the Buddhist community, the religious order, have made themselves quite prominent in the way they have the attire that they put on. So, when they go to the Sangha, when they listened, when they have a little confidence with members of the Sangha, they develop some confidence there. So when they have this confidence of faith in any member of the Sangha, with this faith, they will naturally want to listen to the teachings, to his teachings. When they listened, after listening to the teachings, then it will condition that individual to begin to think about Dhamma, and they want to understand. Now he wants to understand what the teaching is about. Having some understanding of the teachings, now that will condition the mind to think how to put this into practice. Now that we have understood this, how to practice this? Then the next step, the practice. One gets into practice. Applying the teachings, putting the teachings, trying to put the teachings in their day-to-day life. And as one practices the Dhamma, one sees how this Dhamma can help them to overcome the obstacles that they are confronted with day to day. And when they are able to overcome this hindrance, these obstacles, the problems, the conflict that they are confronted with, then they have greater confidence, because they see that this is what is being said. Now when I practice this, this is what I realize. In other words, they are able to verify the statement of truth. They are able to verify that this is truth. This is Dhamma. Now when they are able to verify this fact, then they gain further confidence. Now this confidence is much greater than the confidence which they started with, which prompted them to listen to Dhamma. Now they have practice. Upon the practice, they realize the nature of Dhamma, how it is able to overcome, help them to deal, help them to live in a more peaceful and harmonious way of life. Then they have greater confidence. With that greater confidence, then they have more energy, virya. They make greater effort to practice. And with that greater effort, application, then realize deeper, more profound meaning of the Dhamma. And in this manner, one grows from one step, from one stage to another. Slowly and gradually one grows. The confidence eventually, when one is able to free one's mind, eventually to liberate one's mind, then the mind will become unshakable in confidence that this is the truth, this is the path, this is the way. So this is how the different stages, one leading on to the other. One factor, mental factor, condition another. When these mental factors arises, faith, element, confidence in Dhamma arises, then it will condition. Now, confidence in the Dhamma. There are many a times we know from the teachings that the Dhamma is that which enables us to overcome our suffering and which is able to lead us to complete eradication of suffering. We know that. But in actual practice, when we get down to practice, we find that the path is not entirely just a straight path. You put that into practice, but you will see there are all kinds of obstacles, all kinds of hindrances. When you have, it is a path, it is like a journey, it is compared to a journey where one has to move, start from the ground level and then climb up the mountain. We have to pass through some dangerous corners, some paths, some very steep roads, and sometimes we have got various obstacles. When it rains, when there's big storm, sometimes we cannot reach the mountain, cannot reach our destination to the top in just one go. We have to wait, we have to pitch our tents, or we have to live under the canopies of the trees for a few nights, and then slowly, sometimes have to come back, and then try again next time. So the journey may not be an easy one, although for some it is easier, for some it is more difficult. Now, why is it? Why is it that for some people the journey to enlightenment, the path to enlightenment, is a very straight one? For others, they have to go through a very tedious journey, because we are born in this world with our past. We are born, we are conditioned by our past actions. So by what we come with good, wholesome and unwholesome karma, we come with these. We come with certain skills and certain perfections that we have practiced from life to life. Those who have acquired those skills, those who have developed, strengthened their minds in the past, then when they start practicing Dhamma, their path becomes easier path. There will be less obstacles. But those who have more defilements, the defiled mind which has not been tamed, which has not been trained, naturally, these defilements are there which becomes obstacle, which becomes hindrance to our spiritual progress. However, if we learn to confront these defilements, this is where I think sometime in my last talk I have mentioned that the real practice of Dhamma begins when one begins to confront with the defilements that arises in our mind. What are these defilements? The defilements of greed, the defilements of craving, the defilements of hatred, anger, jealousies, envy, delusion, confused state of mind, which conditions sloth and torpor, doubts in the mind. Now, these defilements which arises in the mind from time to time, again and again, we need to know how to identify, how to become aware of them. And that is why the strengthening of the mind is necessary. And we can train our minds in various ways. We can observe the desires that arises in our mind. Every time you want to stand, you can see the desire, you want to stand. And so you can just go against that desire, all right? You want to stand, I will not stand. I will remain seated. And when you want to sit somewhere, you say that I will stand. When you want to sleep, you say, I will not sleep, I will sit. So, like this, we can challenge the mind. But one must know where and when to challenge the mind. At the right time, at the right place, right occasion. We must have some clear comprehension of, we must know the suitability of the practice and when to practice it. Now, that is all what is in the practice of mindfulness or awareness. Mindfulness, awareness is the key to spiritual living. Yes, before I elaborate further, now, do you have any other questions? I've answered this part of the question, especially which relates to faith and confidence, right? Anybody else have some other questions that you wish to raise? He says that we understand ourselves as mind and body, right? Then when the body disintegrates, in other words, when we die, right? The body begins to disintegrate. Where does the mind go to? Where? From what you have learned, from what you have heard, somebody attempt to answer this question. Where? Yes. But where? Where will this mind go to? Yes, that's right. Well, where do you want to go to? Well, not so easy. You will go where there are certain tendencies, Now in this life, we are generating certain energy, certain force, and certain momentum. This energy we call the karmic energy, karma. by our thought, by our speech, and by our body action. We like to do something, we don't like to do certain things. So according to your karmic force, what you do, the certain things which you like to do, you do it again and again, again and again. What you like may not be good. And usually that's the way. As a general principle, whatever you really like is not so good. What you don't like is good. Do you know that? That's a general principle of eating. If you like to eat the food very much, the rule is that food is something which you cannot digest properly. This is what some nutritionists have told me. But those food that you don't like to eat, they are the food that you can digest properly. This is how our mind works, you see. Because we always crave for something which, we cannot properly utilize it. No? That is the nature. Medicine is good for us, isn't it? We don't like certain bitter medicine. We don't like that. Some good food has no taste. We don't like it. But they are the food that can be easily digested. But all those that have got, they have added in all sorts of ingredients, all kinds of preservatives, all kinds of flavor. They are the things that you like very much. Right? Can you digest all of them? Cannot digest them. See? So, according to our karma, our karmic force, this karmic force will push, will direct where we will be born. And so, in Buddhism, we understand these mental energies. When we talk about the mind, we have to talk about certain mental. The mind is understood in the form of mental energies. There are different levels. The energies, feeling process, such as the feeling process. Feeling, your ability to sense, sensation or feeling, this is one kind of mental process, one kind of mental energy. At another level of the mental process, it is called perception process. That is also a mental process. Then mental formations or volitionary activities in the mind, thought formations, various kinds of thoughts, ideas and concepts that we develop in our mind. They are also called mental process. They are the mental aspect. And our ability to become aware, our ability to become conscious of things, the consciousness through the consciousness process. So the mind, when we talk about the mind, we speak about feeling process, perception process, mental formations, and consciousness process. Now these processes continues at death until such time there is no longer the craving force, because it is this force of craving that will give rise to that strong magnetic force which will attract other material components to this mental process, thus giving rise to a psychophysical personality. When the craving is not there, then there is no more attraction. So, mental, where there is no more craving, no more attachment to the body, then these physical processes cannot come together with the mental. So there cannot be another being. That is how we can put an end to rebirth. But until such time, because of the strong craving tendencies, then again and again, one is born. And if there are good, wholesome tendencies, one is born in a happier plane of existence, more happiness, less suffering. But when the conditions are, when the karma, more unwholesome karmas, then one finds a more suffering states of existence. That is how we explain how when a person dies. So don't worry. When you really understand the nature of death, birth, rebirth, then you see that this life of ours is impermanent. Death is also just a temporary phase. It is actually a temporary phenomenon because it conditions another birth. So if we want to continue to live happily, then we must know the art of living. How to live happily without hurting others, and by giving happiness to others, leading a wholesome way of life, then that is going to will condition our good life in the future. Yes.
I don't know whether it's right for me to ask this question at this moment. Some people say form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. And four elements are all empty. How to explain this?
Oh yes. Yes, form is empty. Because this form, what are these forms? When we are talking about form, when we are talking about the physical process form, what is this that we can see? The things that we can see, they are called form, visible objects, right? This form or appearance that we can see, they are made up of certain physical elements, like what is represented by the four basic elements of life that the body is made up of. What are these four basic elements? Earth element, water element, wind element, fire element. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. These are the four elements. Now these elements, they are also in a constant state of flux. Although you see this table in a solid state, hard, but changes are taking place within elements of the wood particle. This table is made up of wood. This wood is made up of various plant tissues made up of cells. The cells are made up of molecules, atoms, and they are constantly changing inside. They are energies. Nothing is really, although we look at one another as something solid, but actually in it there are a whole process, the energy, it is constantly changing. That is how we can grow. Even a dead thing like this, inanimate things, it is also subject to change, process of change. Now because it is changing, since it is changing, it is not satisfactory. It is changing, it is not satisfactory, it has no real substance, no permanent entity which people call the soul or the self. So as these elements, this form is subject to these characteristics, universal characteristics of existence, in other words, it is subject to change, anicca, subject to dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, and subject to anatta. So we consider it as empty. It is empty in the sense that there is nothing that we can cling to. Nothing, there is no real substance that we can cling to. The moment you put, everything is changing, pass away. So in that sense, we see it is empty. Right. So form is emptiness. Everything is empty. In that sense, don't think empty means, oh, there is nothing there. There is not nothing, there is no thing. The thing means, when you use the word thing, you always think of something permanent, something that does not change. But there is no such thing. In that sense, there is no thing, nothing, empty. Oh, the philosophy, you see, this is where the philosophy of emptiness, which is developed in the process of time in Buddhism, is carried out to a very great extent. Whilst the early teachings of the Buddha stops at the emptiness of the being, mind and body. Because if one can realize the emptiness of this being, the I and the mind, one will also be able to realize the emptiness of the outside. There is the inside world and the outside world. Inside world and the outside world. Do you know the inside world? Yes, this is important. What is the world inside you made up of? Hmm? Where is your world? Your world lies within this 5-foot long body. Your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Through these 6 faculties, through these 6 bases, this is your world. Without this, if you have no eyes, no ear, no tongue, no body, no mind, where is the world? Where is the world? Can you experience the world? No. You can't experience the world. So it is with your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind that we are able to experience the outside world. The outside world. What do you experience with your eyes? The eye can see colors, see forms. Eyes sees, by means of seeing color, can discriminate the shapes, forms that is visible to the eye. The eye cannot see. What is this? Glass. What do you see? Do you see glass? Do you see glass? What do you see? What is this? Microphone. Can you see microphone? Can you see microphone? If it is really this microphone that you see, I take this same thing, right, and I bring it to the jungles, where we have some native people living there. Then I ask them, what? You think they will say microphone? They will not say that. But they also have eyes. They also see. They see something. They see what you see. But they don't call this what you call this. Because you have learned. Somebody told you this is called microphone. And anything that is of this object that performs this function, when you talk into it, becomes your voice become amplified, then you call this microphone. Somebody can bring a similar object, that looks like a microphone. You can be bluffed. You think it's a microphone. You see. What you see is, you see the color, you see the form here. And with this, it gives rise to the idea. You begin to perceive, you recognize, because you have seen one such microphone before, and so you recognize, then you recollect, and you say, that's microphone. But what you are actually seeing, you are just seeing the color, the form here. the shape of these things. That is what the eyes can tell you, boss. What do you hear? Sound. And can you hear music? Music, you identify it due to the pitch, the tone. Then you say, oh, that's music. That one is noise. That's not music, like that. What's the difference between noise and music? Anybody knows? Yes.
It's harmony.
Yes, that's right. Do you know the difference between noise and music? You do not know, you didn't hear. In music, there is a harmony. Harmony, the frequency, the pitch, the tone, there is a harmony. In noise, there is no harmony. But some noises have been incorporated into modern music, which are merely noise only, no? I remember then they ping, bang, 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 boom, pum, but they all make noise. But if they can make noise in a harmonious manner, in a pattern, in a proper series, and then it becomes music. Like that. See? So how our ears are tricked to listening it. Sometimes noise, we think music. Sometimes music, we think noise. Then nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Now, all these things, through these bases, we see outside. The things that we see outside, they are also changing. They are not there the same all the time. They are changing. Therefore, they are unsatisfactory. There is no substance in them. So what we see also is not real. In that sense, there's nothing that we can cling to. In that sense, they are empty. So this is empty, and that is empty. Emptiness.
Is the mind empty?
Yes. Very good. Again. What is the mind? I ask you, is the mind empty? Anybody answer? What is the mind? When we talk about mind, we talk about we talk about feeling process. We talk about perception process. We talk about mental formation, thoughts, ideas in the mind. We talk about consciousness process, right? So, is your mind empty? Now? Yeah?
There are many people that find it the same. There's no such thing as mind other than pain.
No. First, I ask this question. First, please, we will discuss this later. And for the time being, is your mind empty? Because still you must have, when you come, for this kind of discussion, you must try to understand. You have opportunity to question. Now, is the mind empty? We are talking about emptiness. What have you heard just now when I talk about mind, how we define the mind? No, not 5. No, not 6. How many?
4 aggregates.
4. There you are. 4 only. 4. What are the 4? Feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Only 4. These 4 we call the mind. Don't worry about the scientists. Those scientists have only 5 cents. Buddhists have 6 cents. You see, scientists think that this brain is the mind. This is the not so advanced scientists. Now there are more advanced scientists. You know? Now there are a certain branch of science that looks into, that study the mental process, and they do not equate the mind as the brain, no longer. Formerly, when they talk of the basic physical sciences, chemistry, physics, biology, and that, then they, come with that kind of idea. Now there are parapsychologists, and they learn the phenomena of psychic phenomena, telepathy, how brain pattern when you meditate, get into your level of concentration, alpha level, theta, gamma levels, this says. So they read the brain waves through the mental by sending thoughts. All these things, they have to come to certain conclusion that this mental energy, not only the brain can give rise to certain, through the brain function. So the heart and the brain plays very important part in generating this mental process, mental energies, mental current. No? I ask you this question: where is the mind? I ask you this question: where is the mind? Anybody can answer. Where is the mind? No. Now, you do this. You watch. Where is the mind? You touch. Where is your mind?
Where consciousness arises. Where consciousness arises.
When you touch, don't need to hit. Touch. When you touch, you can sense feeling, right? You can become more aware of the feeling, right? Feeling process, right? Isn't it? You can become conscious of the feeling, no? You can become aware of the touch, no? That is a mind, no? What else is that? Where else is your mind? I explained already. Mind is what? Mind is feeling process. Mind is perception process. Mind is mental formation process. Mind is consciousness process. Right? So when those processes can be experienced, then you are experiencing your mind. Right? Yes. But you can. This mind, because it is constantly changing, because your feeling changes, your perception changes, mental formations, your ideas, your thoughts change, and consciousness too change. Now, as all these are subject to change, they are subject to unsatisfactoriness, there is no self, there is no entity in it, we call them empty. We call them empty, emptiness. Right? Again, don't think that there is nothing in the mind. There is no thing in the mind. I repeat the same thing as for the body. That is why you can see this body is empty, this mind is empty. So body and mind is empty. There are different ways of understanding emptiness, not only one way. So the real way of seeing emptiness in the mind is to see it is subject to change, subject to unsatisfactoriness, subject to non-self. In that sense, it is empty. The mind can also be emptied of something. Normally, another way of understanding an empty mind is the mind can be full of something and then the mind can be emptied of something, right? Can be full of what? The mind can be full of what? Rubbish. What are the rubbish in your mind? What are the rubbish in your mind? Defilements in the mind. What are the root causes of all the defilements? Answer. Greed or craving, hatred and delusion. When you are able to empty these greed, hatred and delusion in your mind, when you are able to empty it, then that mind is an empty mind. Right? Therefore, you can experience that state of mind. So, sometimes when the Buddha says sunyata, sunya, refers to that. Emptied of defilements, no more defilements in the mind. No more defilements in the mind, emptied mind. Yes. Because usually these words, we use these words, empty. And ordinary people, everybody thinks empty means nothing. So when they say that the Buddha realized emptiness, do you know, in the teachings of the Buddha says, Nibbanang Paramang Sukham. Some of you might have heard this, right? Nibbanang Paramang Sukham. Right? That means Nibbana is the highest bliss, Sukham, bliss. Buddha also said, Nibbanang Paramang sunyam. That means Nibbana is the highest emptiness. Therefore, we can say Nibbana is the highest happiness, or emptiness is the highest happiness. But we always teach people Nibbana is the highest happiness. We don't tell them Nibbana is the highest emptiness. Because we know all the people are addicted to happiness. So we must tell them the highest happiness, then they all want to work for it. If we tell them, Nibbana is empty, no? So they say, what for? It is true. Yes. When you say empty your mind, that means put aside all the craving desires in the mind, all the concepts in the mind, all the ideas, the views in the mind. Give up that. Empty that mind. So the mind is free from greed, hatred, delusion. When the mind is freed from delusion, the mind is no view. The mind sees, the mind penetrates things clearly. The empty mind is the bright mind. The empty mind is the pure mind. The pure mind is the empty mind. Yes.
What about the mind of animals, plants, dogs?
Not empty. What about that? What do you think about that? What about them? Oh, animals have mind, have mental process. Then you must know. Yes, many people still, very good question he asks, because still some of you are shy to ask this question about plants. What about plants? Do plants have mind? Have or not? You say, Okay, start again. What is mind? Go on, please, what is mind? Now I make all of you know your mind. First one, feeling process. Second, perception process. Third, mental formation. Fourth, consciousness. Okay, now, can plant feel? Okay, you will say yes. Okay, can plant sense, recognize you? Can or not? Then, okay, can plants have concepts, think? You see, in the ancient days, during the time of the Buddha, remember, during the time of the Buddha, this question already arose. People asked the Buddha, especially those, the Jainism. That is why Jainism don't believe in killing plants. They will not eat any plants if they have to uproot the plant. No, they will not eat. Anything that they have to uproot, they will eat the leaves. They will take from the branches, from the stem, but they will not kill the plant, because they believe that plants are also beings, and that is why they don't kill plants. And so plucking the leaves is just like cutting our hair, taking the hair, and taking the barks of the plant, to make medicine, just like taking the nails, and a little bit of the skin out. So this Buddha, how did the Buddha answer to this question? Buddha says that plants are grouped under Ekindriya Satta. Ekindriya Satta. Eka means one. Indriya means what? Indriya means faculties. One faculty. Ekindriya Satta. That means plants has this one faculty. The faculty to respond to stimulus. The faculty to respond to stimulus. Plants can respond to stimulus. Do you know what is the meaning of response to stimulus? When you put a plant here, and in the morning, if the sunlight comes there, right? If you put it long enough, the plant will start going to the daylight. Understand? It can respond to this stimulus. No matter how much you come in the morning, you threaten with the rotan and says, now look here plant, I want you to turn this way to the Buddha. Don't go outside there. We all want to see this way. You please turn that way. Otherwise, you see this rotan here, you go and talk to that plant. You think he will move in this direction? No, because there is no light, there is no stimulus. It will go that direction. It cannot think. Tada otak. So, but human beings have given the part of their feeling to the plants, part of their mind to the plants. I remember in 1972, I attended Mind Science Conference in Hilton in Washington, D.C. On this Mind Science Conference, the different scientists came up to inform the people of their research and what they have found. Dr. James Baxter came up with this theory of plants with feelings. How this plant, it started off, there was this plant, potted plant in the house, kept in the house, and one day somebody came in and wanted to have that thought, wanted to commit murder. Somehow this potted plant had moved. The branches or slightly moved that direction. And this was noticed by some people later. Later, they did certain experiments. How they got the same plant or the same type of plant, and then they got people aggressive, come with very aggressive thoughts. And they found that still the plant reacted. Understand? Slight reaction there. And so they say that the plants See how the plants can sense, can have feeling. What is that? How would you explain? How would you explain that phenomena? Why did the plant move? Is there any other reasons how the plant can move? What did the Buddha say the plant is? Respond to ekindriya satta, one that respond to one sense faculty, stimulus. So can you think what kind of stimulus it is that makes the plant move? What is that stimulus? Your mental energy, the thought. This is something that they have not discovered. Those scientists who have no mind, have five sense only. They think that, they have actually overlooked the force of the mind, the thoughts. How certain sensitive plants, not all plants, certain sensitive plants can respond to the thought. And you have heard how tomato plants, when you play music, the tomato plant very happy and start, bloom and grow big fruits. Have you heard about that? Yes. There are people who plant tomatoes, and put stereophonic, and have music, Bach, Beethoven, and beauty. And it seems that, I do not know whether Bach or Beethoven, I did not really listen to it, but I have come across, I have seen certain magazines, certain reports of certain research done, how music can affect the plants. Of course. There is this some strong belief amongst the Chinese that when certain plants in the house flower, that means you prosper, right? How is it? When you have harmony in the house, I have seen these things. Certain plants that grow in our house never flowered, but when there were peace, no fighting in the house, no arguments, arguments outside the house. Then the house is peaceful, vibration peaceful, and do some chanting, harmonious these things. Then the plants can respond to this. So they also grow well, and they also flower. Because of the peace, the harmony in the house, that is the real prosperity. Naturally, when there is peace, when there is harmony in the home, then all the good luck will come to you. That is quite natural. You see how you see that. And it is a phenomena. The trees that grow around the house, usually, I think better to say temple, not house. When you see, last time we had coconut trees. Those coconut trees around the house, they have more. In Sri Lanka, we have noticed Those trees that grow around the vihara, the monastery, they have more fruits, they bear more fruits than the one further away because of the vibration. Yes, if you have real, and they have done this experiment in Montreal, in Canada, in McGill University. These scientists have taken some barley seeds, and have taken some water. This is barley water, not barley seed. They have taken pure water and asked two persons to hold it. One fellow is Krakow fellow. His mind is not in good order. And so he held the water. Another one is very happy person, very calm person, and he was also asked to hold the water for some time. And then they were asked to pour the water on different lots of barley seeds. They tested this again and again, and they found that those barley seeds with the water from that Krakow fellow, that fellow whose mind is, in mental disorder, that seed took longer time to grow, and when it grew, it was very unhealthy. But on the other hand, the seed which had the water from the mind, from that man who was happy, good state of mind, that seed grew faster and more healthy. This was the experiment. You can read this in in the chanting books. That is the power of the mind, the mental force. There is a branch of study now called the study of aura. Aura? The electricity that you emit, your body. All bodies have this aura, electrical impulses. These are energies emitting this. I have met one woman who can actually see people's auras in Sweden, in Zurich. And she told me how she was able to see people's aura. He looked at a person, he can see the colors outside them and how the colors changes. And this is what certain places in certain parts of the world, they are using this as a therapy, how to heal people. Immediately they see it, they can know which part of your body is blocked, or there's some problem, whichever part of the body, by looking at the color of the aura. See? So this woman was telling me how one day she saw this person as she was entering the lift. She saw this one very dark aura, and she did not know what to do. Suddenly she saw these things. Then the next thing she heard about that person was already gone. Dark aura, you see. And then she was so upset because she clung to her abilities to see that. Because she was very emotional. She thought that, she should have done something. She should have, and she did not know what to do. Like this, number of occasions And so she was very disturbed, very emotionally disturbed. So she met another woman who also had that ability to see this aura and told her how to stop seeing it, how to stop, give up this kind of, this is why when the mind is not strong, and if you have this kind of psychic abilities, if your mind is not strong, you can become fairly emotionally upset by things. Because the mind is not strong to control. The mind cannot understand why this, and also cannot balance. So can have this kind of emotional disturbance. So she gave up. And so this aura, through this aura ability, we emit certain electrical impulses, certain radiation. And therefore, that is why those who purify their mind have pure energy. The pure energy is a very powerful force, pure energy. And provided you know how to use them, when you have pure mind and to use that energy, it can purify your system. How can you can be healed, can overcome certain sickness also. You see? So that has energy force. So still, you listen again and again the mind. Now you can understand whether animals or plants have mind or not. Plants have the ability to respond to various stimulus, but on its own, it cannot think. Cannot think, I don't like this temple, I will walk to the church. Cannot. Have you seen our Bodhi tree walking over? Cannot. Move there, It has to move, that's all. It grows according to its own laws. Laws of gravity, laws of phototropism, geotropism, and all the tropisms respond to stimulus, that's all. That is the nature of plants. Yes.
I think it's all power in that we all stimulate all in more complicated way.
No. Can you please?
Well, we are only affected by the law of force. Effect. Yeah.
Yes, law of cause and effect. We are affected.
It's ruling our mind. It's ruling all our actions.
Yes, so?
So what's our own will? This is what I'm wondering. What's our will? Our pure will? What's the fundamental difference between the flesh, which is guided by stimuli, and our mind?
Oh, that's why the human beings have the mental energy. It is a combination of mental and physical. Plants exist at a physical level. Understand? Beings. That is why we use the word psychophysical being. Human being is a psychophysical being. Have mind, have mental energy. Animals too have mind, have mental energies. But when you trace it further to the lower forms of life, there are certain states whereby the differentiation is at a very low level. So difficult to classify them as plants or animals. Sometimes being classified into both. Bacteria can be taken as plant kingdom or as animal kingdom. At very low level. I think some time ago, Chief Reverend had explained to you how the Buddha had to, even during his search for his enlightenment, the 6 years, he had to meet certain obstacles, obstructions, and due to certain karma, which he has to pay them. Cause and effect. But the mind is strong. The mind is pure. The mind has absolutely no more attachment to the body. So the cause and effect can only happen at a physical level, not at a mental level. Right? Karmically, certain things can happen to you. If the mind has no attachment, then the mind not only having no attachment to the body, the mind having no attachment to the mind. No attachment to feelings, no attachment to perception, no attachment to views. So how can that mind suffer? But the body can. The body can be hurt. The toes can bleed. Bodies can be subject to various kinds of sickness, illness. But the mind that is not attached to the body, the mind can be free. And this is how the Buddha advised to some people who are very sick, who came to see him, or he went to see. Nakula Pita. Nakula Pita was actually, the Buddha recalled, Buddha could see that he was once upon a time, his parents, his father, in some previous lives. So he took great compassion and went to visit Nakula Pita when he was very ill. Then the Buddha asked him whether he could bear the pain that he said, I can't bear. The pain is unbearable. Then the Buddha advised him, when your body is painful, don't allow your mind to become painful. Of course, he could not understand it, so it became more painful. So then, of course, Buddha taught him how to observe. So this is where the practice of mindfulness comes in. How to train your mind to see feelings at feeling level. Just observe the feeling as feelings. Don't cling to the feeling. The feeling is not yours. It's a very painful sensation, but that is not yours. But the moment you cling to it, you say, oh, that's my leg is painful, then you experience the pain. Who asked you to cling to that pain? Just observe that painful sensation as painful sensation, and you can watch, right? Just as the wind that blows, right? This wind, this air that blows here, is that yours? Now it blows and you feel cool. And that pleasant sensation. And you cling to this pleasant sensation. Then we switch it off. Then unpleasant sensation begins to arise. Pleasant, unpleasant, because you cling to that. If you allow it just to come and go, if you have to sit I remember when I first attended the Sunday schools, and I have to be in a company where all of them will do their recital. They will do chanting, up and down, up and down, and then mosquito bite, fly come. But then I was like that, and see everybody not moving. How to move? Still not move. Fly came, and then feel very itchy. Then observe. And I can still remember how the pain in my legs came. Oh, so painful, but look around, nobody moving, so I also did not move. Until suddenly it became numb. Then suddenly no feeling at all. Oh, okay, already, Then suddenly the calmness came like that. You also can try and see. You watch and see. Everything you watch the feelings go away. If you watch your body carefully again and again, the body disappears. Yeah? Yes. You don't watch the whole body. You cannot watch the whole body. You just watch one part of your body. Watch your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep on watching your breath. You will find the breath disappear. Yeah. But don't get frightened. Don't think that oh no more breath, die. Some fellows, they get frightened when they watch here, they cannot see the breath, then they start teaching, and then automatically they look at the heart. If they cannot touch, they look at the heart, so they see the heart. Naturally, when they fear in the mind, then they look at the heart starts pumping faster. So he says, Reverend, why are my heart, I can see my heart pumping very fast, pop, and you think, oh, what's wrong, Then we ask, and he says, yeah, first I sat down and I cannot breathe, cannot breathe, because, the mind, this is the nature of the mind. This is the nature of the mind. When you develop your calmness, concentration on one thing, you observe the body, see the body again and again, see the breathing again. It becomes very fine, subtle, then it goes. You see, come and go. No? Then, when that goes, then you watch the feeling. Your feeling becomes more acute. Then you watch the feeling. And you watch the feeling again, wherever the feeling, the pain sensation comes, you observe. Where it goes, you follow. Until you see it also bursts. No more feeling already. Then your mind becomes calm, quiet. Then you become aware of your thoughts, perception and thoughts in your mind. Little thoughts that arises in your mind, you become aware of these things. Watch the thought, see the state of your mind, see these things. Then when you watch, that also, no thoughts. Suddenly, bang, no thoughts. Empty already. Dhamma appears in the mind. Real Dhamma appears in the mind. Real insight appears in the mind. When no thoughts, the mind is clear. When this thing arises, the mind knows this is this is that, this is this is that. The mind knows. Clear Dhamma arises. The mind can watch and see. Watch. This Dhamma is the mind. Dhamma. So state by state, little by little. Observe one thing. Train the mind to observe one thing at a time. And then slowly, do not be afraid. Until when you start watching, you will see the body, every part of the body just explode, go. You look with your pure mind, concentrate that part, just explode, vanish. Then you really see, everything you see become empty. You turn and see the mind, and actually the process of enlightenment has been explained by our meditation master, how he was able to see and experience this thing exploding until everything just finished. And then, but still look inside, still there. Don't be afraid. Train your mind to close your eyes, concentrate. And then open your eyes, also concentrate. So that the calmness that you have when you close your eyes, you can still maintain your calmness when you open your eyes. If you have learned how to train your eyes, train your mind, when you close your eyes, calm. Suddenly you open your eyes, all your calmness gone. So have to train at another level. So next time, meditate or close your eyes first. And then slowly open your eyes and still maintain the calmness. And when you go to office, don't close your eyes. Open your eyes and still maintain the calmness. You can open your eyes. You don't want to see people, no need to see them. No? You can open your eyes, but no need to see people. Okay, let us train your mind little while. We will conclude with just little while, 5 minutes of calming down your mind. Sit in an upright position. Keep your body upright. And relax your body, feel your shoulder, adjust your shoulder joints, so that it is in a fairly relaxed position. Take a few deep breaths, breathe in and breathe out. Now, as you breathe in and out, just observe your breath as it enters and leaves the nostrils. Focus your attention on the breath. You can focus your attention around the tip of the nostrils and just observe the breath as it enters and leaves the nostrils. As you breathe in, you can mentally note Bud. As you breathe out, mentally note Do. So you remember Buddha as you breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in Bud. Breathe out Do. Bud. Do. Bud. Do. Breathe in, breathe out normally. Any thoughts, any distraction that arises in your mind, as soon as you become aware of it, return your attention to your breath and just watch the breath. Breathing in, mentally note Bud. Breathing out, mentally note Do. Bud. Do. Bhavatu sappam mangalam rakkantu sappa devata Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sata Sotti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sata Sotti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sata Sotti Bhavantu Te. May all be well and happy. Now slowly return your attention to your body. Take a few deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out, and slowly open your eyes. Be wide awake, calm and peaceful. Open your eyes and be wide awake. Just a few moments when you calm your mind. Very quickly you can calm your mind down and then try to cherish these thoughts again and again. Then you can prolong your calmness and happiness. And do not worry. Any problems that arises, you can solve the problem when your mind is calm, when your mind is peaceful, and give your metta to all. When others are happy, you too will become happy. So do not be selfish. We do not live alone in this world. We must practice metta and wisdom